Well, my theory was wrong, and it looks like Ichigo really is a Quincy in this week's Bleach Chapter 514, Born in the Dark. So, we pick up from last week with Ichigo's big explosion of Ryatsu pushing Bach away. Bach claims it was a mistake and proceeds to cut Ichigo on the arm, revealing more of his blue vein. He goes on to say it was a mistake for him to have a pure Quincy go after him because it awakened the memories within his Ryatsu. Kurogeshio reached the deepest part of his soul because it was meant to hold enemies, not Quincy's. Typical Ichigo has no clue what he's talking about, as Bach continues to tell him he knows nothing about himself, including his own mother. His original plan was to take Ichigo back from the start to re-educate him on his past, but now he's just gonna force him to surrender. So Bach grabs him by the head, pulls out his sword, he's about to unleash his full power on him, and a shadow comes out of nowhere telling him he's gotta go. Bach thought he had more time, but says Aizen must have pulled off one of his classic mind fucks when they met, and managed to confuse his perception of time. They begin to take off, but Ichigo's still pissed and tries to get in one last shot, but Haschwald simply cuts the blade off Tensa Zangetsu. As he's leaving though, Bach tells Ichigo that he'll be back for him. My son born in the darkness. Alright, well I was wrong with my Urahara blood theory, and it appears Ichigo's mother had some sort of connection to the Quincy's. And that really irritates me. As I said last week, I don't think Ichigo needed to be another being. He's already a human, Shinigami, Visored, Fullbringer, but yeah, let's add fucking Quincy to the list. Bach says how he shouldn't have had a pure Quincy go up against Ichigo because it awakened his Quincy powers, but if that's the case, why the fuck haven't they awakened earlier, seeing as Ichigo has been hanging around Ishida, a pure Quincy, for years now? And now we all learn a small bit about Ichigo's mother. Bach didn't come out and say she was a Quincy, but he was heavily implying it. However, the line he says at the end, my son born in the dark, has already confused many, so I'm gonna make this very clear. Bach is not Ichigo's father. He's obviously referring to him as a Quincy brethren who's been left in the dark about his past and his powers. My theory was wrong last week, but I'll be damned if I'm not right about this one. I don't know, I'm not going to say this was a bad chapter, because it truly wasn't. It's building up the mystery around Ichigo and his family, as well as Bach and the Vandenreich. I didn't particularly like it, but I didn't hate it. I'm just really frustrated because I really didn't want Kubo throwing more powers at Ichigo. But it might turn out to be a good thing, as it could lead to Ichigo learning some new attacks and, I don't know, like having a new bow version of Tensa Zangetsu or something. It's stupid, but clearly it's what I gotta work with now. Next week, I think we're just going to see all the Stern Ritters leaving their battles and having some little chat with whoever they were fighting before leaving. Then it'll end on Ichigo just standing where Bach and Haschwald left, and we'll possibly get some big view of Soul Society just completely destroyed. But for the most part, next chapter I think is just going to be filled with lots of talking. Can't wait. Well, my question for everyone this week, do you think Bach has any relation to Ichigo? If you think he is his father, you're going to have to give me a lengthy comment detailing how in God's name it's possible. But that is it for this week. Please remember to leave comments for discussions and like and subscribe for more weekly Bleach chapter reviews. I'll be back next week for chapter 515. Peace.